beyond their current level, they just haven't found the way in. Now, upon hearing Su Ling's words, they naturally come to a realization. Wang Cheng has likely reached that inaccessible level, which Su Ling refers to as a secondary awakened being. However, you really are an awakened being. Moreover, have you broken through to a higher level of awakening? Chunlan couldn't help but speak up, eager to enhance her own strength. Previously, in the hospital, Chunlan had suspected that Wang Cheng was an awakened being because he had once killed a mutated domestic cat with his bare hands, displaying power far beyond that of an ordinary person. At that time, she suspected Wang Cheng was a strength-type awakened being, but he had always avoided the topic. Now, she was certain. On the other hand, Yi Qijing stood there in rare silence, unable to come to his senses, staring blankly at Wang Cheng as if it were their first meeting. The surprise Wang Cheng brought him was overwhelming. They were both from Haicheng University, yet the gap between them was so vast. Yi Qijing had thought that Wang Cheng was just a bit braver and had access to firearms. But he never expected that Wang Cheng was actually an awakened being, and even a rare secondary awakened being in the entire Haicheng. Before this, Yi Qijing had never even heard of Wang Cheng. All this time, Yi Qijing believed that he and his peers at the university were the elite of the school, and he had known most of the outstanding talents from previous years. Yet at this moment, he felt a bit dazed. Could it be that the school, as others said, was filled with self-important individuals who mingled in student councils and social circles, while the real big shots kept a low profile and advanced quietly? Otherwise, how could he have never heard of such an elite like Wang Cheng before? In that instant, Yi Qijing felt as if his entire life had become a blur. Wang Cheng, unaware of his thoughts, felt a bit embarrassed when Su Ling exclaimed so loudly. He knew his own situation well. He was hardly an awakened being, let alone a secondary one. To say it out loud would be misleading. No, it's not that exaggerated. If I were a secondary awakened being and knew how to break through, Su Xinghai would have already reached that level, so don't say such things. While responding to Chunlan's doubts, Wang Cheng reached out and playfully flicked Su Ling on the forehead. Su Ling widened her eyes, looking somewhat cute. That's settled then. You will follow them to meet the military, and I'll go my own way. However, Chunlan, Yi Qijing, I think I will eventually seek out the military as well, and we will meet again. I hope that if you have the energy, you can help me find out about Su Xinghai and Zhang Chao. Listening to these words, both Yi Qijing and Chunlan nodded seriously. Su Ling was reluctant and shouted that she wanted to stay behind Wang Cheng, but was pulled back by Chunlan, their advisor. At this moment, Su Ling showed a hint of childishness, shouting a few words. Unfortunately, Wang Cheng paid her no mind, turning to get into the vehicle and parting ways with Chunlan and the others, each heading down their own path. Chunlan and the others were making their way through the desolate and dilapidated city, aiming for a survivor gathering point, while Wang Cheng charged toward an area teeming with mutated creatures, ready to unleash devastation with his weapon at the ready. After nearly a day's rest, Wang Cheng could clearly feel that the exhaustion from the previous night was gradually recovering, and he was once again able to unleash his power with both hands. However, unlike Su Xinghai and Chunlan, who could use their abilities dozens of times in a day, Wang Cheng estimated that his ability could only be used twice. Of course, compared to the abilities of Su Xinghai and Chunlan, Wang Cheng's power was undoubtedly more explosive and possessed greater destructive capability. In Haicheng, smoke billowed as Wang Cheng's warship, marked with scorch marks, cut through the long street, charging directly toward the mutated creatures. Chapter 54, Upgrade. Level 2 Warship. The sky was darkening, and flames spread. In a ground-floor storefront, a group of survivors was trapped, screaming in terror. 5 or 6 mutated beings blocked the entrance, shaking their severed heads and lunging at a young couple. The couple, who had been tightly embracing, stumbled backward in panic. But in the face of imminent death, the young man suddenly pushed his girlfriend out toward one of the mutated beings. The girl was caught completely off guard by this turn of events. Her face filled with shock and despair as she looked at the boy. His expression was twisted with fear as he screamed while running into the crowd. I'm sorry. I want to live too. Didn't you say you liked me? For my sake, consider this as doing it for me. The mutated creature lunged at the girl. She was pushed out and fell to the ground, dazed and seemingly unaware of how to escape. In reality, at such close range, there was little chance for an ordinary person to evade, and she would surely be killed by the mutated being. However, the expected death did not come. A heavy gunshot rang out, and a bullet accurately shot from outside the street, piercing through the head of the mutated creature. Accompanied by a dull thud, the creature collapsed, its body convulsing violently before going still. The remaining mutated beings at the entrance turned and howled as they charged toward the new target. A figure was seen jumping out of a vehicle from the other end of the street, walking toward the oncoming mutated creatures without changing his expression, resolutely firing his weapon. A high explosive grenade shot out, and flames surged into the sky. With a deafening explosion, the 5 or 6 mutated beings were instantly blown away, scattered, and heavily damaged. The few that remained alive were left with severed limbs, writhing on the ground in agony. Other survivors, witnessing the scene, were left pale and terrified, retreating in fear. Yet the person remained unfazed, stepping into the sea of blood, executing one shot after another to finish off the half-dead mutated beings. The person in question is Wang Cheng. He has been wandering around the nearby urban area for an entire day. By now, dusk is approaching, and he is still hunting mutated creatures. During this aimless hunting, Wang Cheng discovered that his efficiency in hunting mutants alone is far inferior to when he collaborates with others like Su Xinghai and Zhang Chao. After all, an individual's strength is limited, but Wang Cheng found another effective method to seek out other survivors. The terrifying mutated giant trees spreading from the direction of Haicheng University have forced survivors in this area to flee. Today, there are many survivors on the streets, and those being pursued by mutants are even more numerous. In this situation, Wang Cheng only needs to look for sounds of screaming and fighting. By following those sounds, he is bound to find a group of mutants. Most of these mutants are drawn to the other survivors and are often caught off guard. With a shot from behind, Wang Cheng can easily take them down. Therefore, towards the end of his hunting today, he actively sought out survivors to pick off the mutants. Of course, for Wang Cheng, this is an easy hunt, but for ordinary survivors who cannot even fend off a single mutant, his presence is like a miraculous savior. His reputation is spreading in this circle, with many survivors talking about a mad mutant hunter who, instead of fleeing, is actively hunting monsters. Truly insane. At this moment, as Wang Cheng is cleaning the battlefield, a girl who had been pushed away by her boyfriend stumbles up from the pool of blood and rushes at the boy, giving him a fierce slap. The boy, looking dazed, steps forward, wanting to explain something, but ultimately just sighs and walks away silently. The girl sobs uncontrollably, and at that moment, everything between them collapses in the face of humanity. Wang Cheng merely glances at them before turning his head away. He has seen too many scenes like this. In the apocalypse, many people exhibit ugliness and ferocity that were never seen before. That is the darkness of human nature. Yet he has also witnessed the greater brilliance of humanity, where some are willing to sacrifice themselves for others. Everyone is different. Moreover, there are very few like Wang Cheng who can even turn the tables and hunt mutants. For the vast majority of survivors, every second is filled with fear. If a mutant sets its sights on them, death is a likely outcome. Wang Cheng was once such a survivor, living on the edge, where a single mutant could easily kill him. Therefore, he somewhat understands the goodness and evil that can erupt in the face of life and death. Everyone is fighting for survival, and the distinction between right and wrong may only be known to the individuals making those choices. As to whether they can be at peace with their conscience, Wang Cheng was preparing to leave directly after cleaning up, as he had done before, but at that moment, he heard a voice behind him. Turning around, another beautiful woman stumbled out. The woman was in her early 30s, with a mature and alluring appearance, and her figure was well-proportioned, fitting the type of a confident and elegant woman. She ran out from behind and firmly grasped Wang Cheng's hand, pressing her body against him, pleading, "Please take me with you. I know you. You are the expert who hunts monsters everywhere. I beg you to take me along. I am willing to do anything for you." Wang Cheng frowned, seeing that he remained silent. The woman even went so far as to pull down her clothing, disregarding the fact that it was not yet completely dark, trying hard to show herself in hopes that Wang Cheng would take her along and protect her. "Please take me with you. You can do anything you want with me. I don't want to live like this anymore. I can help you with many things. I only ask that you take me with you." At that moment, any sense of dignity and personality seemed unimportant. She was just an ordinary person, by herself. She could die at any moment, and only by becoming a subordinate of someone like Wang Cheng could she survive safely. Unfortunately, Wang Cheng had no intention of entertaining such thoughts. After a busy day, coupled with the few mutated creatures he had just killed, Wang Cheng's energy points had reached 321, enough to upgrade his level 2 battleship. Wang Cheng was eager to upgrade the battleship and was not swayed by the woman's appearance. Taking her along for a bit of attractiveness was out of the question. He felt sympathy for her, as he had once been a survivor like her after his rebirth, but there was nothing he could do. He, too, wanted to survive. He needed to grow stronger and find his parents. Wang Cheng knew very well that his parents were not young anymore, and in this anxious apocalyptic world, their situation was similar to that of these ordinary people. The longer he delayed, the smaller the chance of seeing them again. Thus, Wang Cheng quietly withdrew his hand and walked away, leaving the woman staring blankly as he left. Eventually, she numbly pulled up her clothing and walked toward other survivors. Wang Cheng was already gone. The nearby urban area was becoming chaotic. As night deepened, flames erupted, and the air was filled with thick smoke. The sky was illuminated by the crimson glow of fire as Wang Cheng boarded his battleship, slowly moving forward and soon disappearing into the deep darkness of the night. He was several kilometers away from the market area, although Wang Chung had mostly been wandering nearby that day.